There is emerging on the face of the earth a new human, an infinite human, and that infinite human is you. Join Elizabeth Monroy weekly for enlightening discussions, multi-dimensional journeys, profound meditations, and empowering visualizations as we co-create the new consciousness renaissance together with other blossoming infinite human beings who are shifting the old paradigms of our broken, fragmented, finite 3D Earth and alchemizing it into a more expansive, unified, loving, infinite reality by reclaiming their true divine, infinite power within as the co-creators of the new infinite Earth. Join us weekly for the Infinite Human Talk Show, hosted by Elizabeth Monroy, every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time.
Hello, my divine, infinite human beings, your all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And we have a really amazing show for you today. It's really a simple message, but it's such a profound and timely message. And I don't think it could be more powerful than right now. We're in the midst of such tremendous energy. Of course, whenever you're hearing this, it's the right moment for you. But I'm getting an echo. But today our guest is joining us, and we're going to talk about the power of joy, of basically living your life in the highest frequency of joy, and how simple it is, but how when you create from that space, that high frequency, actually it is so easy to manifest your dreams. And we're going to talk about, how to position yourself into that, and then how to just release, let go of all the stories that are still holding you back onto the path of sorrow, onto the old timelines, and onto your limitations, your misery, your finite self. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mary Bridget O'Donoghue. She's used to be known as Mary Costello, which I could never pronounce that name because it just didn't feel like her. But here she is now, and I'm going to let her tell you her story and this major shift, because we are in a time of major shifting. So this is just part of it. So Mary, welcome.
Hey, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
First I'll address my name, Reclamation. So this is just my birth name, my two grandmothers' names and my father's name. So I was just holding on to a married name to have the same name as my children, my ex-husband's name. And I realized that was a contract I was making of limitation. And when I released that name, I was picking back up my destiny timeline, my trajectory, with the fullness of who I was born as, essentially, without contract, from the beginning. So that's what happened there. Where is my Elizabeth?
And welcome back. Sorry we had a little technical problem there, but Mary, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't cut you off. Can you finish up what you were
No,
saying? And
I think I got the info in about my name change. Just ending there was a little pinch, there was a contraction, and when I let that go, it just allowed the fullness, the richness of the potential richness of my name to come back to me. The name that was given to me at birth, which is very important because, of course, my mother's intention was behind that, and both my mother and my father's combined union was behind that. So yeah.
well, that's very powerful. In fact, I talk about it in my book, The Infinite Human. Your logos is your name, and that's the name that appears on your birth certificate. And, a lot of people don't like it. They give it away. They have trouble with it but it is, and they think it's wrong, but it
Yeah.
isn't. If it found its way in your birth certificate, it's been like carved in the stars and it has your soul mission in it. And I talk about how to get to determine what yours is. And I go through my name when I write about it in the book, and then with the workbook that we'll talk about a little bit more today, I help you find out what your logos is. Because each letter has not only a numerical correspondence but a symbol. Each the epistemology of each name is so important. And this is a huge shift we're in right now, right? I think we talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
just the energy has just the frequencies have just really catapulted us into a much higher level, a higher dimensional reality. And it's demanding that we let go of the old stories, the old identities that no longer resonate with us with our true authentic selves. And that's what we're seeing. And a lot of you may be going through some tough times right now. I understand, because the lower frequencies have to first release, and they come up for you to revisit them and just, kind of give them a big fat kiss. We, in our last talk show, was all about self-love, and loving them for the lessons they've taught you, and then letting them go. So we had I read your well, we'll talk about it next time in a little bit more detail, but your whole thing
Yeah.
about letting go of the stories, because I think
Mm-hmm.
that is essential in the shift. As we energetically clear the frequencies, we need to go through our not only physical by, and you introduced me to the burp. Actually being prevented.
Get everything
There's
out of
so
the
much
way so
there's
fast.
so much fear in there, and I was like holding it back, trying to be so ladylike. And then now I'm walking around. I did it in the cafe the other day, and everyone turned around like, just purging lower frequencies, guys. Nothing, to worry. But it
Well,
helps
that's
so much because
wonderful.
we all carry and a lot of it comes out in nausea, that feeling of
Mm-hmm.
nausea, and then you just clear it out. And, in many different ways, the drinking of the water. And next week, I'm going to talk more about the symptoms of dealing with all these massive solar flares. But today also emotionally, there a lot of things are coming up and for me in dreams. I had a lot of dreams coming up, and just feelings, like childhood feelings that I thought I was done with, and they're back. They're back. You do you
Yeah,
want to have you had anything like that
sure.
happening?
Oh my gosh, yes, I had a dream last night and it was quite unsettling. It was just letting me pull a few things apart. There was a beautiful resolution to it, but when you get dragged into the depths of yourself, and even though you come back and you're reborn, it takes a while to process, or not even process, but to allow the settling of the depth of yourself, of all the things you haven't seen or haven't allowed yourself to feel. And we are in unprecedented times. This is uncharted waters. There is no guidebook really for feeling your way through yourself. And the only thing I would just say, as a small piece of guidance, to stay outside of the story, because when we feel unstable, when we are in uncharted waters, we go into pattern recognition, right? We try to find what we recognize in what's in front of us and say, okay, I know how this is going to play out. And we almost write the ending of the situation before, based on our experiences. And in doing that, we are discounting the allowance of grace and miracle. And we are discounting the majesty and magic of ourselves and of other people and all of the other energies that we can't even see right now. I just witnessed the two feelings that I feel pull us into that place of um, pattern recognition, of trying to end the story before it begins. Because we are in a prophecy timeline where the story is in the feeling and the unfolding and the walking through and the living. And it is exploding our hearts open. We are being made to feel everything. So there is no contract in this storyline. The prophecy timeline has no contract. It is wide open and infinite. So if we to try to resist shame and despair, this is where I am. Shame and despair. When we fall into despair, we start a downward spiral and we write the story and we put a full stop at it before it begins. When we feel shame, we do the same thing. We go into this downward spiraling. So the resting place when these two energies are balancing, like you said, the very high pure potential, angelic, and then the very low, the shadow, the things we've hidden, these two energies are coming together into togetherness to merge within the heart. And in the allowance of that, humility and gratitude is the beginning seed of joy. Humility and gratitude. And even if you can only be grateful for your breath, if that is all you have in that moment, it is the best place. It is the very beginning of that upward crystal spiral, is humility and gratitude, and understanding that the wholeness, all the strength you need is within, everything that you need is within, and to focus on that and allow your unfolding to be the storyline of what's happening right now.
It's interesting you brought up like shame, and sorrow. And that's what was coming up for me today and yesterday, big time, big time. And, I'm sure many of us here have done so much work. I've got my inner child painting behind me, and, we've done so much work. And I thought, not again, no, no, no. But, I just was able to pause and say, okay, it's the remnants, because first of all, if it's coming into your awareness, it means you're finishing with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say that again. If you are becoming aware of it, it means it's the tail end. It's like, just the fizz is coming out of it. And, I know you do a lot of work with womb, but was having a lot of issues because we're all related: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. There's 4 natures, 4 bodies that we have to heal, and they're all deeply connected. So I was having a lot of trouble with my sacral chakra. I had, again, which my mother had a lot of, and I used to have, but I've had it twice now this year. One of those bladder, like infections,
Yeah.
you take the pill and you pee orange, like orange. Orange is the color of the sacral chakra. So I was going back to some of the meditations you had done, and just kind of a lot of the womb healing, and just my poor womb, and I think I was realizing, and I'll just be very honest, because that's how you heal. And I hope by when women get together and really allow that authenticity to come out, it gives us all permission, because we are a collective, we are a monadic tribe that is going through this right now, and we're the vanguard. We're clearing the way for those who come after us. But I think there's so much shame with women, because we've been used and abused, and we have used our wombs for the wrong reasons, to seek love. And last episode was all about self-love, so if you need to go back and listen to it, I strongly recommend that, because we've been seeking love, in all the wrong places, and we've allowed or and perhaps not even allowed, it's been forced upon us, through violence, people to enter that sacred space. And now I feel like there's a huge clearing going around right now. And I'll just say her because she's so great. I listen to White Feather Tarot because I've read tarot. I love the tarot myself, but I've gotten to the point where I don't have time to do the spread. So I just tune into like two of them, and she's just like there. And what she says is so powerful right now. I think my guides are communicating with her, but she was saying we're clearing out the sacredness of the womb now, for this birthing of this whole new reality, this new earth, this new child that we are, our new selves. And so that's part of this beautiful sweeping, this beautiful cleansing, purging. And so of course a lot of the frequencies are held there, and then they spread throughout our whole holographic template. I'm sure you have
Mm.
something to say about that because that's kind of your
Yeah. Yeah, it's always been about the womb for me, because what I could identify is that the womb is the place that sings the love song of creation back to humanity. So it has been incredibly bittersweet for women to be in possession of this highest light function of the womb, but for it to be completely desecrated and to be received with so much hatred and jealousy because of its power. So that I don't have the solution to that, because that takes there is a call and response taking place. The
I
womb
have the
sends out a
solution.
song. Oh, tell me
I
the
have this.
solution.
I have the solution. I'll talk about that later, but let's clear out all the negativity that comes up
Yeah, it
with it.
has.
And then,
Yeah, there is a call and response from the womb. So, right, we are constantly calling, sending out a song of what is missing, because our womb has been desecrated, and we are restoring wholeness to the womb. So we are sending out the call of what is missing, also the song of what is missing, um, so that we can essentially sing everything back to wholeness with the womb. This is the power of the womb. It is a sonic um, tool of life giving and life rebuilding and reforming. But yes, women have gone through an inordinate amount of suffering, and it continues. And essentially, the womb is whatever is ignored, whatever power imbalance, whatever shadow, whatever we're not supposed to say, whatever anybody benefits from something being unsaid, that sickness ends up in the womb. The womb is the basin of imbalance, and we are restoring it to immaculate balance right now. So there is a lot of disturbance in the womb because of that, and there's also a lot of anger towards women because of that, because we will not be quiet, because every time we absorb an imbalance, a power imbalance, a lie, we get sick, and we're not doing that anymore. So the love that we are is there is attunement taking place, and people are understanding how to receive and how to behave, but it's taking some time. It is just taking time, and that's how it has to go. We are restoring perfect balance. We are moving from imbalance to balance. The Holy Trinity of the Mother, Father, and Child is returning to the correct power dynamic. And that turns a lot of people up on their head. A lot of energies upside down. So that's where we are.
okay, so with this, I'm going to talk in a minute about the massive amounts of energy, and I think just so much, especially from the we've talked about this, the cut off, the redirected, basically banned divine eternal mother from our
Mhm.
reality, from our holographic template, who's coming back. And it's just such a wonderful bathing of this beautiful loving energy. But it also then disrupts everything that needs to be rebalanced and realigned. So that's a lot of the work we're doing right now, energetically at one level, and it takes a lot of work. So we're a lot of us are tired, and then we have to trickle it down so it actually we actually make we actually leave behind, not only purge these frequencies, but we don't return to the familiar stories, like you said, the familiar
Yeah.
patterns. And we touched a little bit on that. So
Mm.
so um just I like to really, when I work, I like to first, like a doctor, look at the problems, and then we find the solutions. But I think as women, we've been so discounted, the work we do. I mean, what we're
Mhm.
doing right now is immense. We are clearing out the whole primordial womb
Yeah.
of creation. I mean, that's what we're doing. And it looks like nothing, because, all the men are out there talking about, and I kind of shared with you that, it's all in my book, everything that's happened. And once it's gotten to the point where it's in the hands of the masses, and now everyone's like, oh, this is what Diddy Wad did, or all the stuff and I've gone through systematically and said every single thing you need to know about our corrupted history, religion, governments, everything. But underneath everything I say in every chapter is, you're the solution. You're infinite. You've got this, and I think now people are feeding the problem. If once they understand it, you need to move on. Okay. And the work is inside, and the work may be silent right now.
Thank you for saying that, Elizabeth, because that is a beautiful honoring of where the women are right now and what we're doing. And it is exhausting, and it is frightening because there is no framework for the work that we're doing, and there isn't always recognition. And what it is with women. So we can do this work privately for ourselves between circles of women, and it can feel safe and held. But essentially, we know what we need to do, and this needs to be done in the, expanded. This has to be across the board. We're not leaving any stone unturned. We're not leaving any back door, any side window open in this immaculate womb. It will be immaculate. So that is the bit that I'm finding difficult at the moment. This expansion that has to come, that is happening, allowing that, but without the framework, and just knowing and having to know, because we have to do it, right? We have to know that the framework will form as we do it. We have to believe, we have to back ourselves. This is our soul's mission. We have to back ourselves with belief, and know that when we take these steps of honor and of, a noble intention, that all of the elements of creation will rush in to help us. And that is just something the women we're not used to, because we're not used to leading. We're not used to self-determining. We're used to cleaning up. We have spent lifetimes of cleaning up in every single free will timeline of hell. We have been the silent, sickened counterpart to the masculine in every single one. We have spent those timelines cleaning up, managing, absorbing, and decaying, essentially, and breeding our children to suit that system that we were within. So now it is completely different, but we're doing it. We will do it. We are doing it.
Yeah, and a lot of sacrificing, a lot of
Yeah.
sacrificing. And so, whew, just take a deep breath and just let that go.
Oh,
It's
that
been
feels
a tough
good.
one. But right now, you're right. This is
Mm,
unprecedented, and this is uncharted territory. And right now, a lot of us are doing it in the silence of our own wombs. Our own.
yeah.
In fact, it's so new; it's just happening right now as we speak. So, just this
Mhm.
conversation we're having is probably a pioneering conversation,
Yeah.
and hopefully there'll be more and more, because then we can get what we do best, is join together and support each other and restore the sisterhood that has been so damaged.
Yes. Mhm.
But we have to first restore it internally. And the mother wound, which I have up there, is a huge one. I was just going through the pain that I had of this antagonistic relationship I have with my mother, and how it stopped me from trusting other women, and it cut me off. And so we have been not able to trust our sisters because we've all been competing for the male prize. And we have all that miasma that we have to first clear out internally. So this is the year of the 9, and this is what we're doing this year, 2025, is clearing all that, all those beliefs, all those programs, all those distortions in our magnetic and electrical, mechanism, our beingness, the divine feminine, divine masculine. So, kudos, pat on the back there, ladies, self-love right now, self-love, and
Yeah.
just, wow,
Mhm.
how far we have come, even that we can speak,
I
I mean,
know.
just speaking
We are
out.
doing
It's,
so well. Like this,
yes,
we are really doing so well. And it isn't a small thing that we're both wearing pink. Now I'm a very dark pink, but it is pink. That is not a small thing. And they say when women start wearing pink, it's a huge sign for the world, right? Everything is healing and pink is making a comeback. So that actually means a lot. That means a lot. But we are being
wow.
what I feel we are being remade in the image of the Eternal Mother. We are remembering our divinity, and our divinity in woman is wholeness, and that involves preservation of wholeness. So there's nothing outside of ourselves we need to add to claim our divinity as women. We actually need to preserve and intensify and hold that integrity, that vibrational integrity of the wholeness of ourself. And that's what's happening now, because that is our presence on this earth, to be made in the image of the Eternal Mother, to be the presence of wholeness, because within the wholeness of woman, everything else comes to wholeness, because we are the womb of creation. So within, and like you said, the individual journey we're taking within ourselves to piece it all back together, to weave it together. And we have the beautiful assistance of the crystalline grandmothers with this, to reweave the purity of our consciousness, to take out those aspects, like you say, of the competition with other women and anything else, or that the male centric worldview, taking that out of our system, because that is not correct. And when we are in those false positions, we will always be depleted. When we are in wholeness, we will be in regeneration, and we will know the truth of abundance at all times. And even as we are uncovering all the sadness and the sorrow of woman, and I am witnessing, because I'm feeling, as we all are, the feelings of the girls, the women, the different, let's say, pockets of the feminine as it comes back into this oneness. Even as we're feeling that, we are witnessing the purity and the essence of it. We are not getting, we are passing through the badness that was done, the convolution, and we are holding the sanctity and the glory of the girl, the mother, the daughter, the grandmother in our hands, and bringing that back into consciousness. We are just taking the, the idea of desecration, of damnation out of the mother body, out of the woman body. We are whole and we are holy.
Okay, great. So, beautiful. And I feel like, we've kind of turned up everything that we're dealing with right now. And so,
Yeah.
we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to talk more about being in the pink, which is huge for me right now. So,
Me
quick,
too. Let's
quick,
do that.
yeah.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense Radio Show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how with your help. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And welcome back. I'm Elizabeth Monroy, and welcome back to the Infinite Human Talk Show with our guest today. I'm just calling you Mary Donahue. Mary Bridget
Sure.
Donahue.
There's a lot going on there.
Her new name. So before we were talking about the powerful change that we're
Yeah.
this huge shift we're in right here, and especially for the women, because we have a certain job, so
Yes.
I mean, everyone has a job, and everyone's job is important, but right now it's a major job because we're really starting, I think, with the magnetic and the electrical. Of course, we're both masculine and feminine, but the magnetic is, as I've said many times, it connects directly to infinite God source and then sends out the intention, and then it's the electrical that carries out that intention. So we really have to clear out all this, and it's been done for a reason because we're so powerful. We are so powerful.
Yes.
So, and right now it's the time. And, a lot of people are like, I got to get out there. I got to change the world. I got to do something. No, this is the time to absorb these higher frequencies because they're coming through and they're amazing. And then, it's in waves, and then you'll be purging them and you'll just know. It's a very intuitive, very individual thing. But for me, I have just, every time I close my eyes, all I see is like pink. It is so strangest thing. I just see pink, like hearts, shades of pinks, just lovey pink, puffy pink. And I'm in like the higher dimensions of the cloud cities and the crystal cities, and see crystal spirals and crystal, castles of pink. And of course I'm wearing pink. I'm just like, I can't wear anything but pink. I'm just, and I felt like I wanted to do an advertisement for Shin because they have curvy now, so I can finally wear clothes that fit me. And my whole closet is nothing but pink, and Kiki's pink, and we run around visiting these beautiful ancient Tartarian structures, cathedrals and palaces and castles. Yesterday we went to Edici, the city of love. It was amazing. And she wears her little pink tutu, and I wear my tutu too. And we just go all over. And we just, I take videos of her with pink flowers, and I'm like going, what am I doing? I mean, I used to stand out in front of 5G towers and say, sorry, I shouldn't say the high five OG towers. I used to go to the sites where they were giving the shots and scream, prima non nocere. I used to be like, so,
Yeah.
there was a time for that. I mean, 2020, people
Mm-hmm.
did not know what was going on, and I did. So I felt I had to speak up, and I did.
Yeah.
And I put it in my book. The Infinite Human is all in there to connect the dots. So I did just spiritually bypass.
Yeah.
But when you know the problem, and I know the problem, you have to know the problem. I won't say you do need to connect the dots. And this is again, I just love my book because it's a wonderful way. I tell you all the problems, and then at the end, I always say, "But you got this. You're infinite. You're infinite. You're infinite." Because a lot of people nowadays are like rehashing over the same problems and over this, and creating these communities and creating everyone's paying to find out the latest, garbage on child sacrifice or something. I mean, guys, learn it and then leave it, purge it first from your holographic template. So as you do this, though, this wonderful, wonderful high, um, you know, energy is just pouring through. And I found myself just wanting to just play. And now Kiki, who I love so much, that she's kind of been in the background and while I've been up there very patiently waiting for me. But she's from the heights, ascended master realms, the Rishi levels. And she's been there to teach me to play and
Mm-hmm.
to love everyone unconditionally. And that's all she does, is she just loves everyone and plays, and people love her. They're always like,
Yeah.
oh, are you gonna come to my book signing, in Cincinnati? Is Kiki gonna be there? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now, these talk shows, they get like maybe 300, 1,000 people if we're lucky. Kiki, I do a little short with her. It's like 2,000 people, and everyone's noticing her because of that beautiful, loving energy. So
Yeah.
it's that, we're taught that being childlike is especially in the masculine world. As children, we wander around with our daddies, maybe to their business places, all dressed up, and it's like, okay, you be quiet. We're running the world, and they're actually screwing it up, right? And it's the kids.
Mm-hmm.
If they just let the kids have a voice, they could just resolve probably all the problems. And now I see it happening with the awakening movement. All the men are talking about this and that, and Trump's gonna save this, and then Musk's gonna do this, and the political and this and blah blah blah. And it's like mental masturbation when you just have to find that joy within. So okay, go ahead. You can take it from
I
there.
wasn't
Masturbation.
expecting you to say that. That was fun. Okay. There's so much medicine in what you're talking about, the pink. I want to show something. This is a rose quartz dodecahedron. I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about rose quartz. The mother's heart is this beautiful rose quartz. It's a balm, it's a soothing, it kind of diffuses the edges of things, and it brings grace into all situations. And when you speak of, the paradigm we're leaving, and it hurts me to feel that, and I want to feel the truth of it, but the innocence was so short-lived in this paradigm that we're leaving. It was miniature, a few years at the beginning, perhaps, if lucky. But we are reclaiming our innocence. I want to speak to something that came through perfectly in time with everything you're speaking about, playing and enjoying life. Because when we choose to be in play and enjoy, we are proclaiming that we believe in grace. We're proclaiming that we believe in grace, actually. And we're proclaiming that the mother's heart is real and she is around us. And where the hard lines have been drawn, and we know those hard lines because they're drawn through us, within us, and they cause so much pain and fracture. Where those hard lines are drawn, we don't need another hard nose to face them. And I'm just speaking as myself as a woman. This is for me and for how I'm witnessing the women. We don't need to be the hard nose facing the hard line. We can be, if we wish for it, to be the daughter and the mother and the grandmother, and to operate within the full spectrum of grace that diffuses the hard lines. And one part of that is the play of the daughter. What came to us yesterday in ceremony, and I'm witnessing them now as etheric, angelic guardians, actually teachers, the eternal daughters of grace, the eternal granddaughters of grace. These are angelic guardians who have, unfortunately, learned the hard way what loss of innocence feels like. And they are the ones to lead us by the hand to find our innocence again. And it is the most sensible position to take in accordance with the Great Mother, to be in grace and to be in innocence.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you what I'm doing, and I'm finally realizing how powerful it is, because I just follow my intuition, whatever. I might say, get up, go outside naked, and I would do it because I follow my intuition. Now, but then I figure out what I was doing. I believe we have that innocence. Of course, it just comes from infinite source, the eternal creation. We all have it. It's always been there. It always will be. It's never left us. But very important. But this is what I'm doing. It's actually kind of terrifying, because I know for me, and I have the inner child, right? Up here with the Divine Mother. Most of us, the Eternal Mother's been banished. There's been barriers up, and a false dark mother has taken her place, and a tyrannical father. So we've been children unprotected. So now the Eternal Mother's back, and she's got an attitude, and she's going to take care of us, and we're becoming the embodiment of her. So my mother is defending and protecting my inner divine child, the Eternal Mother. And so I know that. And because I know that now, I can go anywhere, I can do anything. And I used to be terrified. I mean, as a child, I would just, I realized my mother was not a safe person to be around. So I would just barricade myself in my room with all my stuffed animals. I had like 100 of them. And they were all my spiritual guides. And I would spend all my time with them. And then I'd hear, Elizabeth. I'm like, wanted to lock my door. There was no locks in my house, though, because I would have used them. But now, okay, this is what I do, all right? It's going to sound strange, but every day I dress up like, this is just mild. I dress up in tutus with all kinds of things with Kiki. We go out. Now, where I am is Sicily. Okay, so if you can imagine living in a Godfather movie, okay, think of it, Godfather movie. I'm in the middle of the mafia, guys, the real
Oh
mafia.
dear.
Okay,
Wow.
little short Sicilian men. They're short though. That's one thing. I call them little men, womanini. But I mean, this
They're
is the
always the
mafia land.
worst. They always bark the loudest.
Yeah, but stuff happens here. I mean, really bad stuff
Yeah.
happens here.
Okay.
But you know what? So I'm in my beautiful white car, running the frequencies, the Krystala spirals with Kiki. We go out to these beautiful places, and we sit. I put her next to me. Okay, they hate it. The women are extremely jealous here because they're downtrodden. They dress in black. They would never do that. So they look at this woman all in pink, putting her little puppy dog up. I mean, dogs, animals, they're like stray animals that run everywhere. And they're like, can't bring your dog in here. I'm like, she's a service dog. Yes, I can. And so I put her up, and I feed her, and I dote on her, and I put sunglasses on her and crowns on her, and takes pictures of her, and viral them around, and they're just like, what is this woman doing? But I'm in so much joy. And then the children here are terrified. You would think children love puppies. They're terrified of a Pomeranian. But they are, because it's so much fear here. And everyone here always, even if they have money and they own property, they always pretend to be very poor, and they dress really poor. Well, I'm out there, just doing the exact opposite. And in fact, I even accidentally hit a car in the back. I tapped it, and I didn't do any damage at all. But the guy ran out. I said I did like $1,000 of damage and everything, because I'm like doing it. They hate what I'm doing. But you know what? I'm loving it. and I'm just joyful. And that joy, that low frequency, I'm in this bubble, a real bubble, though, this time, not just a happy astral bubble of protection, like a literally, I'm in a mirror ball. And, they can't penetrate it, and then I'm a symbol. And then the other day when I went to Adichie, people were like, "Oh, can we take your picture?" I mean, it was like celebrity, and they were applauding me, there were groups around me, it was like growing, growing, growing. So, the point is, we can protect ourselves. So we don't have to hide or douse our light, which we have been doing. We've been
Mm,
dousing our lights because we don't want to make other women jealous. Oh, God knows.
mhm,
We make our mother jealous. Oh, God, no. Oh, we upset the men because we're too feminine. We have to cover ourselves in a burqa or something. Oh, God, no.
mhm.
I mean, next stop,
Yeah.
Iraq or
Yeah,
Iran.
that's not
Just kidding.
exactly. We're not going that way. Yeah, no, I hear you. But all of that is really beautiful, Elizabeth. Like you said, you're offering a symbol of freedom and
And I'm just
the
being
most,
me. That's the thing. I'm
yeah,
just being me. Enjoy. I'm
yeah,
not
in
out there trying to do anything. Just doing what I want.
exactly. Yeah, and like the most offensive thing to tyranny is a free woman. The laughter of a woman can drive people insane. I've seen it, I've
Yes.
witnessed it. I've been
Yes.
the laughter that has driven men to their
A,
eyes
w- a
twitching,
woman, a
look
woman
like
who
they're gonna
does,
go crazy.
a woman who is happy,
Mm,
full, loves herself, and needs nothing. It's not asking
nothing.
for anything. Does not need money. Does not need approval.
Mhm.
I mean that.
Yeah,
If you watch Zorba the Greek, oh, that was a bad ending. So I'm
mm,
leaving that story behind. But you know,
yeah,
do it. We
yeah.
all need to just be who we truly
Mhm.
are without fear and protect ourselves, as the divine mothers of our inner child, make sure we're
Yeah.
safe, but we are. So
And the safest way for a woman to be is in radiance, because as we are in radiance, first of all, you have to be whole to be radiant, like, because it's a vibrational signal. Radiance is a vibrational proclamation to
Mhm.
all those around you. And people do not, it's like a halo. You're giving yourself a halo. When you choose to be whole and radiant in your wholeness, you have a halo and you're untouchable. And that is, we always saw the pictures of Mother Mary. She had a halo around her. That's what the halo is. It's
Yes.
radiant. It's just radiant. And she
Yes.
would put that was on the child. So this is why mothers and children have a golden glow around them as well, because the mother and child, they share the same radiance. But this coming from this point, like this is if this can be our magnetic center, like we're talking about the masculine, how the masculine might respond. And I know you have some kind of very strong characters where you're living who are dead set on a path. But I do believe that this is something so real, that golden wholeness within the woman that generates that beautiful magnetic radiance. It is so real and so powerful that I do fully know that the masculine is attuning to that and is looking for that in particular, and wanting to align to that. And even within ourselves, we are to begin with that, to get to that point at all times as much as we can, and allow the energies of our own life to support that, because it is only from wholeness that we can be in overflow. Anything else is performance, and we're not doing performance anymore. We're
Mm.
not inflating ourselves and we're not deflating ourselves. We're being this golden wholeness, this magnetic center of all that there is. The intention, we are filling what was called the void with the intention. We are returning our womb into, what did you say, a disco ball?
Disco
Yeah,
ball
let's turn the
reflecting back
womb
up.
into a
Yeah,
disco
yeah.
ball. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that sounds good.
and you're so right, because I remember my old spiritual teacher once saying every daughter is an actress, because women, and I'm
Mm,
that way, we perform. We
yeah.
don't want to make daddy mad, so we think, okay, what does daddy want us to be? Hi daddy, I worship you, I worship you. Oh, I don't want to make mother mad. Yes, mom, let's make some cookies together. Okay, oh yeah, so you're always performing, you're putting on all these masks. And you know what? Screw that. I'm so sick of
Screw
that
that
because
a thousand times. Yeah.
it's exhausting. So you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing as I radiate, I find two things happen. One, the people that try, they try to test you. And if you're going to back down from your radiance, but if you're just like, yeah, what? You want me to what? Okay, I don't think so. Then they just like little roaches, they just like retract because the light is just
Yeah.
too bright for them. And then those start to acclimate to it. At first it might be a little too much, but then after they see me like every single day for like as I've been here 6 years now, they're like, Elizabeth, oh, Elizabeth, they're like so excited
Yeah.
to see me, because it's a radiant of joy
Yeah.
in their lives, in their difficult lives. And so that is
Mm-hmm.
the new timeline, being wholly you
Yeah.
and embodying this beautiful love of the eternal mother and just radiating it out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And in this place, we are a seed. We are a seed within the womb, and everything we need, because we do need others, we do need cooperations and convergences from magnetized to the wholeness. In order to expand, we need to have as we are having vibrational influence, that is from heart to heart to heart. So there is element like the need. Just wanted to bring this in. Need is the language of evolution. It's the language of truth. It's the language of the body. As we are collapsing the performative feminine framework, we are collapsing all of the things we thought we were told we wanted when we were told we were lacking. There's so much we have no interest in when we know we're not lacking anything. And then the simple things that we feel in our bodies, in our embodied presence. What do I need now? We're coming to we're stopping the gaslighting. We're stopping self-gaslighting. We're recognizing and honoring what we feel we need. And need is not a bad word. And that is something that has been
Oh.
told is a very bad word. And it's the
Mm.
language of the child. The baby is under no illusions that it needs milk to grow and thrive. And we are in the business now of growing and thriving as we actually are. So we need what nourishes us now,
And
what
I just want to
supports.
say, I think historically, we know everything about what our children need, what our
Mhm.
husband or spouse needs, what our parents need. We know everything about them. We know all about their stories and their needs. But when do we ask ourselves? You know, we have to start asking ourselves first. And I feel like this is so timely because it's finally out, all right? And we'll talk about it
Oh,
more in great
beautiful.
detail, but it's about shifting your life story. And basically, it's 167 pages of questions. That's all it is questions. I mean, how many times do you really question and pause and listen for the answer? Who am I? What's my favorite color? What
Yeah.
makes me happy? Am I the center, the hero in my journey, or am I playing a sidekick to someone else?
Mhm.
What do I want for my life? Am I playing this old pattern and really looking at the patterns? Because when you can see them, that's when you can release them. So this is very timely. It's rewriting your life story to your heroic self. And then I want to talk about, and Mary, I'm going to have you back on because
For
she
sure.
wrote something that just blew my mind away, because I feel like you have to first let go of the old stories and find out who you are and what you want, and what you want, not what, you know, your father thinks you want or your mother wants for you, because we're very good at that. We're very good at tricking ourselves into thinking that we want what other people want for us. And we're good at that. We got an A+ in that course. But then we even need to I'll just leave you with this, leave behind story itself. I
Mm.
mean, story, I'm talking about time, beginning, middle, and end, because we are infinite source and we can actually flash in to source and flash back out and create our
Mm.
reality moment to moment. We don't have to necessarily do this. I'm not yet, but girls, guys, whatever, because we are still going through this journey of the hero, but there is a point when you don't need to even explore your dark side because the frequencies have been cleared and you leave behind story itself. So that's a conversation I'm going to have with you in a future date, when the
Yeah,
timing's
that'd
right.
be beautiful. Absolutely, that would be beautiful.
Okay, so Mary, we're running out of time. Let us know how we can get a hold of you.
My best place right now is Facebook, Mary Bridget O'Donoghue. Just follow me there, and I'm posting quite often. My website is heartofgold.earth, which I have to pay attention to or attract to me from my golden radiance. And part of my golden wholeness is that I do not know how to do a website. So attracting to me assistance with that. But yes, Facebook is the best place.
Okay, and we're all in transition right now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a huge shift coming up, where we're going to get out there. Me too, because I've got a lot to do. But
Yeah.
right now, my website's www.infinitehuman.com. I have a blog there. The podcast is on there. My YouTube channel is the new Infinite Human Talk Show, where I have me and Kiki traveling all around to these ancient Tartarian structures. Just little fun short clips that last like a minute, not even. And I'm on Substack too, so my newsletters go out there. And all my books are on Amazon too, so you can find them. And I have the Infinite Human, which if you're lost today with all the different this and that and the other, it brings everything together, and it's an audiobook too, so it actually connects all the dots, and it brings the solution, which is you, and how powerful you are, and how letting go of your old story is really the key. So I think they're very helpful tools right now, because if you're having trouble staying in your joy, it's so important for you to be in that joy. And if you're not, it's a trigger. It's a beautiful lesson. It's a question. Why am I not in my joy? Why am I repeating this? What programs am I still holding on to? What story am I not letting go of? And the more you just let it go, the more you can be in that joyful, blissful path. And that is going to radiate out such a shift on the planet. Thank you for
Thank you
joining
so much.
us, Mary.
Thank you
Always
so
such a
much. And
joy and privilege to be with
I'm
you in
so
your.
grateful to be with you. And like, I just want one sentence, that vision that we're talking about from the place of joy, that is our business, right? We are creating the vision, the story, the living story.
It is so important. Don't let yourself think that if you're not multi-million and you got this business and it's not hard, you're not working hard, you're not doing anything. You're doing so much just by clearing out and being this joyful, loving self that you truly are, right? Right?
Yes, it's a proclamation of grace and of change and of heaven on earth. That's what it is. Thank you.
Love
Mwah.
you, love you, love you,
So much love.
love you. Okay, and
Bye.
bye everybody. See you next week, where I'll talk about the solar energies and how to integrate it. I wasn't able to do it last week, but tune in, because we're going to really talk about how to use this energy and stay just transmute these lower frequencies so you can be in this path of joy. All right, until next week, have a beautiful, wonderful, infinite week. See you next week. Ciao for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. We hope today's episode has inspired you to join the new consciousness renaissance and be the change by reclaiming your true divine infinite nature within and becoming an infinite human and a co-creator of the new infinite earth. Tune in next week for another empowering episode. Until then, have an infinite week.